And we are live.
Good evening, everyone. I call to order this meeting of the Citizens Advisory Council for today, February 24th, 2022. I am Orel Henry, and I'm chair of the Citizens Advisory Council, as we affectionately call the CAC. Let's go ahead and start with roll call. Jessica Wen.
Here.
Kai Shona Person.
Here.
Okay. Warren Boone. Yep, I know he's not here. Mr. Donald Belton.
I'm here.
Tim Andrew.
I'm here. Good evening.
Good evening. Jason Hicks. Dr. Kelly Jackson.
Here.
And Mr. Robert Sims.
Here.
Thank you. Let's go ahead, going on the agenda. Let's go ahead and start with prayer. So Mr. Belton, would you do us the honors?
Yes, thank you. Our eternal Father, we're thankful for this mindfulness that we can pause for a moment to request your presence with us as we know you are. We're thankful for protecting us this morning as we awaken and start about our activities and chores for the day. We are thankful that you have protected us and allowed us to gather in this capacity to review, to talk about, and make some decisions about what will continue to better this city. We pray for each person who's on this conference call. We know that collectively we can do a lot of things, but we also have individual challenges. So we just simply ask you, dear Lord, in your way, in your own due time, that you will address them. As we discuss these matters that's on the agenda and things that will be covered, we pray that you will continue to give us the intellect to make intelligent decisions. And we do pray that as we make those decisions, that we will not make them in bad taste or anything that would be a bad reflection upon you. We pray for the leadership, that you will continue to lead and guide. We pray for those around this city, those who are in leadership positions, especially continue to give them wisdom and understanding, that as they correlate their activities and their thoughts and what might be best for this city, we pray that those of us on this call will be able to make a positive contribution also. We invite your presence into this meeting by way of your Holy Spirit. We ask in your dear Son, Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you for that prayer. Next on the agenda, we have minutes. We're not going to have minutes, so we're going to have it next month, okay? So we're reviewing that stuff now. So the minutes from last month will be at next month's meeting. At this time, I do want to make a change here. We've got two guests online right now that I would like them to make their presentation. We've got Brianna Hart, and we've got Sandy Massenet with Neighborly Software. And so I would like for them to go ahead and make their presentations now, and then we will move forward with the agenda as was set up from before. So y'all can take it away.
All right, thank you so much. Hello, everyone. I am Brianna Hart with Neighborly Software, and I'm just going to be giving you all an overview of the reviewer portal on the Neighborly Software that you will be using to score program applications with High Point. And we're gonna walk through how to get registered in the portal and where you're gonna go to navigate to score the actual applications. So let me go ahead and share my screen. Okay. So this is what, This is what the report, the reviewer portal will look like. And you should be receiving the link.
We are not seeing your screen. Noelle, can you let her share her screen?
Oh,
Seeing it now?
yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry about that. All right, so this is the reviewer portal for High Point. As you can see, it's portal.neighborlysoftware.com/highpointnc/reviewer. You won't have to remember all that. You should be receiving the link to go in and register as a reviewer in the portal. As you receive those assignments to go in and review those applications. So you will see a tab here to sign in and then a tab on the right to register. So if it's your first time, you're going to register and you'll see these fields here where you will need to enter in your credentials. So your email address, and then you'll re-enter your email address just so the system knows that it's the same. You'll enter your first name, your last name, create a password, and then you'll re-enter that password again so the system knows that it's the same, and it will let you know if you need any additional characters or anything like that. And then you'll click continue here. So once you click continue, you'll receive a confirmation email at that email address that you entered up here. And once you click that link in the confirmation email just to verify your account, you'll have completed the registration process and you'll be able to sign in here with that email address and password that you created. And while we're on this page, I just want to reference our technical issues email, support@neighborlysoftware.com, just in case you run into any issues at all, you don't receive the confirmation email, or you get some kind of error, you can go ahead and click here to submit a ticket to our support team, who's available Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you email outside of those hours, just expect a response the following business day. And then just in case you have already registered, you're signing in, you forgot your password, here is a link to click on to go through that process of resetting your password. So I'm gonna go ahead and sign in. And when you sign in, you'll be directed to the reviewer homepage, and you'll see these two sections here. The first section is where you'll see any applications awaiting score that you've been assigned by High Point's team. So you'll see the case ID, the name, the program year, the current score, which will probably be 0 if you haven't scored it yet, and when it was last updated. And I have a test case here just to show you. And then once you've completed your scorings, you'll see them under this second section here, just in case you need to go back and reference for any reason. So to access the case, I'm going to click this little blue door icon. And then I'll be redirected to the actual score summary, where you'll see the different sections of the score report, the points that have been awarded, and how many points are available to give for each of those sections. And if I click here, I also have the option to print any of those sections. So the score summary, the score sheet, or the actual application itself. And I can just check or check off whatever sections I want to print for reference. And then if I go into this left-hand menu here and click on complete scoring, I'll see the actual score report with instructions up here. So as you can see, any reviewers that aren't staff, you will complete sections A, B, and C only. And then staff will complete section D. You have the score description here, saying how many points that you can give. If it's inadequate, 0, weak, 1, marginal 2, et cetera, et cetera. And then again, those sections A, B, C, and D that were overviewed. And then each criteria underneath each of those sections. So as you can see, this is where you'll be entering the points. And if I enter a 1 here, you can see that it auto populates the total here under each of those sections. And you'll just go through the sections that you will need to score and add those numbers. There's a section for notes underneath. If you have any additional details that you want to add about, whether or not you think this applicant should receive funding based on the parameters that are set here. And you can see a section here with the actual application that you can reference. So all of these fields where the applicant has actually entered information, you can go in and see their entire application in order to look through and have that for reference when you score. And then there's also this section here where you can review any documents that were uploaded by the applicant. All right. And then when you want to go back to that home page, you'll just click home there and it will take you right back here. And I actually forgot to mention, once you go through that score report, you add any comments, you can hit save if you want to come back later, if you haven't finished, or you can submit it as final. And please note, if you submit it as final, you won't be able to come back and edit it unless someone from High Point's team reopens it for you. So that is essentially the reviewer portal. And again, if I want to go back home to that home page, I click there and I'm returned here. And I click this user icon if I want to sign out. All right, and that is the overview of the reviewer portal. Sandy, do you have anything to add?
Thank you, Brianna. That was a great walkthrough. So Brianna did go over everything. One thing that I definitely want to call out and reiterate is that sections A, B, and C are for the CAC reviewers, and section D would be for the High Point staff. So it may look weird to you that you're not getting the full 75 points. So in this case, I believe that it would be 50 points would be the max point amount, which would mean perfect score for CAC is you're only doing 3 sections and not all 4. So I just wanted to make that very clear to you all. So Brianna, if you can give me a full score. So give us a full score for A, B, and C. So give all of them their full available points so we can show an example of what that looks like. And if you go ahead and go to the very bottom and submit as final.
Okay.
And as you can see, it will show you that your score is 50. So in the case of the CAC crew, you guys, 50 is a perfect score. So just wanted to point that out just in case you feel that there may be a confusion on why isn't it 75. That's because you're only doing sections A, B, and C. Brianna, go ahead and hit proceed. And that's what your front page will look like, and it will show as the status complete. So this is what it would look like. And if you go back home, Brianna, you'll also see that it's moved and your status is now, it shows where it's 50 out of 75. So I just wanted to call that out. But overall, this is the platform for reviewers. If you have any questions, as Brianna stated, you can visit the support at neighborlysoftware.com, where you can click on that small question mark at the bottom right of the corner, and it gives you prompts as to whatever issues that you're facing. You can click on any of those options, and our support team that's based here in Atlanta, Georgia, will be available to you Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. through 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Okay, are there any from the panel, are there any questions for Brianna and for Sandy?
When will we start using this?
The applications are due in on March the 4th. And so once they come in, and then we go in and take a look to make sure, you know, everything is the way it should be, we'll let you guys know. So you'll start using it within the next month.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Thanks, Tim. Is there any other questions? I just got one question. I'm just curious. Whenever you had mentioned that when you hit submit, and if you want to make any other changes, it would have to be someone from High Point to open it up to let you back in. My question is, does it save what you last put in so that you can just start from there, or does it completely wipe out what you had in there before?
It will save everything that you entered. You
Okay.
just won't, if you submit it as final, you won't be able to go back and edit it. But if you just save it, you will be able to.
So Brianna, go ahead and open that complete, and I'm on the admin side, so I'll push through. So on this side, as you can see, go ahead and go to score. As you can see, the score has now changed. So if you scroll down to the very bottom, there's no changes that can be made right here. So if it comes to the point where you change your mind or you realize there was something missing in the application and it's not a 5, you possibly want to give them a 3 or a 4, what you would do is you'll simply reach out to someone from High Point. And on this end, Brianna, what I'm going to do is I'll go ahead and reopen. And what they will do is they'll reopen the application. And Brianna, if you would refresh your screen.
I can actually.
You see that it's been reopened for you. So now you have the ability to go back in and make any of the adjustments or changes or additions to your recommendations, comments, or notes and resubmit it as final.
Okay, great. Thank you for that.
You're very welcome.
Yeah, no problem. Any other questions, panelists, before we let them go and move on? Ask now while we have them. Okay. Well, once again, thank you so much, Brianna and Sandy, for that presentation. It was actually pretty good. I like the fact that it was actually live, especially when you did the scoring, because it actually lets us know as we go forward in our own, doing this stuff ourselves, what those changes would be, what would look like rather, if we were to have those issues or if we wanted to make a change. So thank you for that.
Absolutely. It's very straightforward.
Great. Thank you all once again.
Thank you, Brianna and Sandy. Appreciate you guys.
Bye.
Have a good evening, everyone.
Yep. Have a good evening too.
Thank you.
All right. Next on the agenda, we're gonna go with old business. So is there any neighborhood updates?
I do have one update for the Burns Hill Neighborhood Association.
All right, go ahead.
They held a meeting on February the 14th. It was at the Moorhead Recreation Center. And what was discussed was Public Safety Week, which is going to be coming up. They're going to be focused on being a part of that. The food pantry was also discussed. They're still going strong. First and third Thursdays of the month, they are giving away food. There is going to be a commitment to community award dinner, and this is going to be held on April the 18th at 6 p.m. It's going to be held at the Moorhead Recreation Center, And Mr. Mingo is asking that anyone that wants to attend, can they respond by March the 1st? And then I think that's pretty much it. Their next meeting is going to be scheduled for March the 14th at 6 p.m. at the Moorhead Recreation Center.
I've got one question for you, Robert. You had mentioned about the dinner and to respond by March 1st. And how is it a phone call that needs to be done to Burns Hill, or how in other words, what's the best way for us to for someone to call to register for that dinner?
You can contact Mr. Mingo. And I can put his address in the chat so everyone can have that. But he says call him directly or reach out via email.
Okay, great. Thank you for that.
What was the date of the dinner again, Robert?
It's April the 18th at 6 p.m. And it's going to be at the Moorhead Recreation Center.
And then just one more thing for this dinner: is there a dress? Is there a dress attire?
I think it's business casual. Let me double check on that because it is a dinner. But I don't think it's formal, so I don't think we'll need a tuxedo per se. But yeah, I think it's business casual. But I'll double check and get back to you.
All right, thank you.
And I'm sorry, I think I missed it, but what was the dinner? What was the mission or kind of agenda for the dinner? Was it a thank you to Burns Hill, or was there supporting something? I'm sorry.
It's called the Commitment to Community Award. And, I do have to say one more thing. There is a recipient, I think, that was Growing High Point, gave our Volunteer of the Year award to Burns Hill gentleman, Mr. Sherman. So I know he's going to be recognized at that dinner. But the dinner is called the Commitment to Community Award.
And Jessica, just a little background. This is something that they have done over the last probably 7 or 8 years. And what they do is they do a recognition of what they have accomplished throughout the year. And then they recognize people who have made that happen for them. And so and they have actually been pulling this together for quite some time. And Robert mentioned Mr. Sherman. He got that award came from the Growing High Point Food Alliance. High Point Food Alliance is the one that gave out that award to him as the Volunteer of the Year for the work that he has done with the Burns Hill Pantry and their community garden.
Very cool.
All right.
I like
Is
that
there-
idea a
Yeah.
lot. Having a dinner to celebrate everything you did this year and recognizing everybody that made it happen. I like that a lot. So
Is there anything else for Robert? For Burns Hill? Any questions? Okay, let's move forward. Is there any others that would like to chime in on any of the neighborhood updates?
Well, I know that Washington Street will be meeting next Tuesday. They normally meet the last Tuesday of the month, but they changed it to March the 1st. And so if anybody would like to attend that meeting, it's going to be a virtual meeting. And I can send the link out to you. But they will actually be meeting during that time frame. Our Southside group, our Persian Street group, our Washington Street, West End groups have not met, and they're still not meeting because of the pandemic. London Woods, they're not meeting in person, but they are doing the phone conference meeting. They got some things that are going on. As I mentioned last week, they're trying to do a directory for all Black businesses. It's one of the things that they're working on. And I think that they're just going to do some other events like doing things for the homeless population, over the next couple of months.
Hey, Michelle, did they say when is going to be the next phone conference?
No, and I can find that out for you.
Okay, thank you. All right, I know as far as Oakview, there are no updates right now. Was there someone that said something to say? Yeah.
London Woods normally meets the second Tuesday of the month. And so that's normally when they do their phone calls, but
Okay.
I'll find out for sure if that's what they're gonna do.
Okay, thank you.
Michelle, I would like the link to the Washington Street meeting on Tuesday. Is that, I'm assuming that's in the evening. Is it 6 or 6:30?
I said 6 o'clock.
Okay.
And if there's anyone else on the panel, the CSC that would like to get that information, please get with Michelle as well. It's always great when we are part of those meetings.
And then Aurel, we are having our neighborhood leaders meeting on this coming Monday. That is the 4th Monday, and I'll send a link out to you for that meeting.
Okay, thank you. Okay, are there anything else for neighborhood updates? All right, next on the old business for the agenda is the discussion on the grantees review that we had for year 2021 to 2022.
And I sent out to you all the reports. I think that was all the reports with the exception of one. And I was supposed to get that in today, but I didn't get it before I left. And so, but if it comes in tomorrow, I'll send it out to you guys. But those were reviews as to where individuals are in terms of their grant, any challenges that they may have had, where they are in terms of their spending their funds. And so that's what was sent out to you guys. And if, you know, even if it's not at this meeting, if you have questions that you might want to find out from the agencies, just let me know. You can email those questions to me and I will get answers for you.
Agreed. Yeah, hey, panel, I've got all those reports so far printed out, so it's a good reading. So what I would say is, as Michelle said, is just go ahead and read through it, highlight, you know, if you have any questions, you know, what have you, just go ahead and email it to Michelle and try to get it done, you know, as soon as possible. So she gets enough time to get it to the agencies. In that way, probably for next meeting, or by next meeting, we can at least have some response or something, so it doesn't, you know, lag too far behind before we get responses back.
I did, in reading over the Housing Authority one, thought that the income increases for at least those 3 individuals that reported the immediate income increases was awesome. When you get to it, one of them has increased their salary by $37,000 annually. That's amazing. That's amazing. So I thought, if I remember, that's one we were a little nervous about. I don't know if we were nervous about it, but I think we had a lot of questions. So I don't know. I just thought that was really cool.
Mr. Chair, I have a question.
Yes, sir, you have the floor.
Has anyone requested extension? Any extensions beyond the deadline?
You're on mute, Michelle.
With the grants that you guys are reviewing tonight, we have not had a request for an extension at this point. It looks like everybody has think that they're going to use their money unless something else happens. We did have two agencies that their contracts got started really late. And so I do anticipate them possibly getting an extension. And that was Open Door Ministries and Communities in School. I'm sorry. Communities in Schools have had some personnel change. Their leader has actually taken on another job. And so with that, that's the one that you guys have that we talked about last time, that they wanted to change their scope of services. And so their contract has not been executed at this point. And so if the scope of services has changed, and another thing that they needed to do, they actually moved from one location to the other. And in order for us to process their contract, their location has to be the same as where they are with the state. And it was not like that with what they submitted to us. And so that is being worked on. They're working on that, and hopefully within a couple of days it should be changed. And with whatever you guys recommend on their scope of service change, we can go ahead and execute their contracts. And so those are the two that I think may get extended.
Michelle,
And,
sorry, go ahead. Go
No.
ahead.
you can go.
I was just going to ask, is the extension, or not the extension, excuse me, the scope of service change something that we'll have to like approve in the next meeting? Or as long as, we ask a few questions, they answer them, they're good to go?
If you guys look at the scope of services, I sent you the old scope and the new, and also in the new scope, it referenced the old scope. If you guys look at that and you guys approve it, you don't have to wait till the next meeting. We can do a vote via email.
Okay.
If everybody can send that vote in, and then we can go ahead and move forward with their contract.
Mhm.
That being said, panel, what I would say is, and again, you want to read through it because Michelle sent both. So, and it's also highlighted as well on the old scope that's in reference. So what I would suggest to you guys is read through this stuff here. And once you get a good understanding of how the scope is being changed to the new one, if you have any questions, let Michelle know. I would just probably copy all of us so that we're all in the loop, so that once it comes to time to vote, we all have all the same information.
Mhm. I do have one question now, but would you rather collect them all at one time via email, Michelle? Whatever's
If
easier.
I can clear up your question, I can clear it up now if you have
Okay.
a question.
Let me bring that one back up. In this change of scope, they talked about the virtual training. Let's see, I think this one's it. The adult mentors, parents, and students will be trained virtually in CRM techniques to facilitate the development of the child's executive functions and skills by creating and maintaining a supportive, reliable relationships via telephone, emails, texting, social media. I was curious to know more about that training, and I guess how effective it is. If it's something they've used before in the past, or if it's something they're trying out for this, or.
I am going to actually let Mr. Jeffers answer that. He knows a whole lot more because he's worked with CIF on this particular training.
Mhm.
And he can probably answer that if he's on. But I would just tell you that the change of scope, and one of the things that they wanted to use the monies for was to cover their van rental, the gas, the maintenance to drop off participants from home, after their after school program, for an awards reception, incentives and refreshments fees for the program that you were talking about, Jessica. So, so that's what they want to actually use the monies for. But Mr. Jefferson, can you explain to them what the CRM is?
Yeah, so the community resiliency model is a wellness-based training that focuses on teaching people the skills to deal with traumatic events and toxic stress that can have a physiological response in your body. Essentially, when you think of, most times we think of young kids when they're in school or other places, and a lot of times where we see them act out, while we may know that there's underlying reasons that contribute to that, what's really happening a lot of it, and I won't go so deep into it, but I will say, just to kind of give it to you plainly, what happens whenever something happens to us, like an event, our brains are triggered by events that are either traumatic, dangerous, or alarming. And so your brain is triggered to go from the sort of reasoning part of your brain to the reptilian part of your brain, and you do what's called fight, flight, or freeze. And what the training is about is how do you help people to know in those moments how to get back into their resilient zone, such that they're able to continue functioning, whether it's in school or on the job or all types of places. The training it was founded by the Trauma Resource Institute, which is based in California, but was founded in Boston, Massachusetts. It is a global model that's utilized all over the world. And they've been doing it, I think, not only for the students, but also for parents as well, to try to build sort of that whole network within a family's home of students and parents being able to know the skills so they can help one another and help themselves as needed.
Wow. That's awesome. Okay. That was very helpful.
Is there any other questions? I know there was one question. I'm just going to bring this up. At least this was a discussion in our last meeting. And I noticed here in the paperwork, it mentions that there's going to be a CIS site support specialist. Yes, a CIS site support specialist, court counselors, and school administrators that will refer students. My question was, and I think this was from the last meeting, is when it comes to picking up, where are they being picked up from? Is this part of Guilford County schools? And how is this going to be set up with the kids going from school or wherever it is to what location? Is this going to be at a CIS location? Is this going to be at a school location? I know that was a question that we had that we did not know the answer to.
So to give you some background on that, and Michelle, if it's
No,
all right.
go ahead. Yes, go ahead.
So where they end up using those funds for transportation is because, unfortunately, while the hope is that there's after school transportation every day of the week for every school to take every student where they need to go, unfortunately, that's not the case. And so for a program like this, in order for it to take place, they needed to secure the kind of transportation for students. So that way, when they get done with a program, and typically I think they end 30 or 7 in the evening, they're able to give those students rides home. So they do the program with them. They teach them what they need to learn that day. There's also some mentoring, enrichment lessons that go with it. There's also a peer-to-peer component where they're teaching the students how to help one another. They feed the students during those training sessions, and then they bring them home. And so to my knowledge, that's what the transportation is being used for. At one point, they were hosting those sessions at the actual CIS of High Point site in downtown High Point. But right now, they're doing the bulk of those trainings either in the schools or they're doing them virtually. But for the ones being done in the schools, the transportation is to give those students rides home.
Okay, thank you so much. Hey, Robert, you had a question?
I did, but I think Tanina's hand was up before mine. No?
No, that's fine. That was an accident.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Chairman. Yeah, this question is about the grantees again for 21-22. And when is the deadline to use the funds?
June the 30th, unless they get an extension.
Okay, thank you. Hey, Robert, your hand is still raised. Do you have another question?
I do not.
Okay, thank you so much. And thank you, Sarah, for that response as well. Are there any other questions from the panel? And once again, we're talking about the 2021-2022 grantee review, everything that we've gotten so far that's been emailed to us. Any other questions?
I did have one. I'm sorry if you mentioned it. Michelle, any other additional questions? Was there a deadline that you would like those by? Or anything like that?
A deadline that I would like what by? I'm sorry.
The questions for what we're reviewing, what we got, what do you call it? Oh my gosh.
The mid-year reviews that you got?
Yes, thank you.
I would say if you guys, since we're talking about them now, if you guys could just give me something by next Friday.
Okay.
And then and that way I can get back to the agencies and answer questions for you.
Okay, sounds perfect.
Yes, thanks, Michelle, for that. I do echo that, guys. Let's get something over to Michelle. If you have any questions, once again, I understand it's good reading, but let's go ahead and go through it and get all our questions. If you have any questions or anything that you have any concern with, get it over to Michelle by next Friday.
Which is March the 4th.
March the 4th, correct. And let's get it to her no later than 5 p.m. so she's not spending the weekend trying to catch up on stuff late on Friday night. I know you, Michelle. Councilman, did you have your hand up?
No, my apologies. That was a sleight of hand.
Oh, okay, thank you.
You need to take your hands and time together.
Okay, let's go to new business. Next on the agenda is the CDBG review procedures.
That is what you guys went through with Neighborly.
Oh, okay, got it. Okay, got it. All right, thank you for that correction. Okay, all right. So next on the agenda is the community development and housing updates. Miss Nina, you can take it away.
Good evening, everyone. I'm actually going to defer to Michelle. We kind of talked and she's going to go through the various things that we have coming up.
Okay, we have a couple of activities coming up and you guys will be receiving links to these community meetings that we have. We do community meetings every year to be able to share with the public just what we're going to be doing for the year and how we're going to actually spend the funds that we get from HUD. And so we have we'll have about 3 or 4 community meetings in person, but since the pandemic, we have been doing them virtually. And so the first meeting is going to be on March the 4th at 10 o'clock. And that's for, people, agencies and stuff of that nature that want to come and don't want to go to one of the nightly meetings. The other 2 meetings are going to be March the 8th and March the 10th at 6:30. And so we would ask and encourage you guys to attend those meetings and just, listen to, what community development is going to be doing over the next year and ask whatever questions that you may have. Please share with anyone that you know to let them know about the meetings and they can ask whatever questions that we need. We use these meetings also as we're preparing for our annual plan. We have to submit an annual plan to HUD each year. So we let the community know what we're doing. We get feedback from the community. We answer their questions, and that's all a part of the annual plan when we're pulling it together. And so, so that's coming up. As we mentioned last month, we're having Operation Inasmuch, which is going to be on April the 30th. And we encourage all of you guys to participate. We're going to be at Washington Street Neighborhood Association. We're going to be in that area on the 30th. And we'll be there all day. And so hopefully the weather is going to be well and we'll be able to do what we have planned to do for that week. Then we have CD week that's coming up. And that is going to be April the 11th through the 15th. And we're still in that planning mode for CD week. Don't know exactly what we're going to do for CD week, but we will do something, but just don't know what that's going to be. Okay. And also as a part of CD week, though, it's going to be the housing fair. Is that summit? The housing summit, right, Nina?
The housing summit, right. That's going to be April the 14th. They actually had moved that up. So it'll be April the 14th from 10 to 12. It is going to be virtual. So we will share some more information with you on that.
Okay. And then the last thing that I have is just to tell you a little bit about VITA. VITA is going very well. And for those of you that do not know what VITA is, that's Volunteer Income Tax Assistance Program. And we have 8 sites, and we have 6 sites right now that's full. It's booked up until tax season is over. And we have 2 sites that we're still, people are still calling in to be able to get their taxes done. And those sites are at GTCC, High Point, and Jamestown. Unfortunately, because of the pandemic, we're not going to do as many taxes as we have done in the past, because we are following CDC protocol and we can't get in as many people as we have in the past. But we're working, and no problems. Everybody seems to be happy about getting their refunds or not getting anything. The latecomers are the ones that might not be happy, because those are the ones that wait to the last minute because they know they got to pay something. And so, but it is going very well. Meredith, who is you guys know Meredith, who is our new community resource specialist, is doing an excellent.
Megan.
I'm sorry, Megan. And she's doing an excellent job at pulling everything together for VITA. So that's all the updates that we have tonight.
Thank you so much, Michelle and Nina. Yeah, the VITA, I've volunteered 2 times so far, and it's been really really good. The feedback I've gotten from folks has been, and they have been very appreciative. I was just blown away by how grateful they are that program exists, and how close it is to their neighborhood. You know, they can just come by. So I just want to continue to encourage people that the program is out there. Main thing I would say is make sure those of you that have an appointment, please keep your appointment. Please keep your appointment, because yes, you can call in to reschedule, but it kind of shifts things around. Especially there are some folks that really wants to get in that can use your slot. So I would say go ahead, just keep your schedule, okay, and just come on out. But like I said, I've been really blown away by the responses that we've gotten from everyone that came and got their taxes done.
I do have one more comment,
Sure.
One more announcement. The Greater High Point Food Alliance, I think Robert talked about Mr. Sherman getting the Volunteer of the Year award. Well, Community Development and Housing, our department, our division actually got the Rooted in Community Award. And so that was given to us for the work that we have done. And we're going to try to set up something so it can be presented to us at our council meeting in March. So just to let you guys know that.
Wow, that is awesome.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah. Robert, you got your hand up.
Yes, sir. Back to the CD meetings. You said March the 4th at 10.
March the 4th at 10, March the 8th and the 10th at 6:30.
Okay.
And you'll send links to that, Michelle, or?
Yes, I'll send you guys out links
Is this virtual or in person?
virtually.
Okay, excellent.
So guys, just in case you want to know, March the 4th, of course, Michelle mentioned is next Friday. March the 8th is Tuesday, the next week, and then the March the 10th is on a Thursday. Okay, let's continue on with our, go ahead, Miss Jackson.
Do we need to let Michelle know? Do we need to let you know that we're going to attend those so we can get the link, or are you just going to automatically send the links to the whole team?
I'm going to send a link to the whole team, and there's going to be a place that you can register so that we'll know how many people are going to attend. So you'll be getting that link.
Okay, thank you.
Operation Inasmuch, I was actually waiting to see if I would be back in town by April 30th, but I will be. So I'm really excited to participate in that. I definitely want to participate. I've never done it before. So if anybody on the CAC wants to join me, that's definitely something that I've always wanted to do and for some reason never can. So I'm excited.
The good thing is, a good thing, Jessica, is there's a few on here, and I believe Miss Jackson, Dr. Jackson actually was on the last one back in the fall.
Yes,
So
it
she
was-
can also give you some fresh insight.
What time does it start in the morning? Maybe you haven't gotten that far yet. I'm sorry.
Now, it starts at 8 o'clock. We're going to be at 4th Street. That is where everybody will probably meet, is at 4th Street. And then everybody will have their assignments to where they're going to go and what their job task is going to be.
Just make sure that you show up ready to do Saturday morning work. I had on, when I showed up, I had on all my little jewelry and stuff. I mean, I had on sneakers and everything, but I was overdressed. Let me just put it that
Noted. I appreciate the advice.
It was
That's
really
awesome.
fun, though. It was really fun.
Good.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And I had shared before. You will notice that the homeowners are. I mean, they are beyond appreciative, you know, of the volunteers and the works that is going on, you know, in their home. And so that's going to be something that with all that's happening, that's what's I'm telling you, Jessica, that's what is you're gonna remember that as you leave, days, weeks, months, years later, is the homeowner itself, because they're very personable and you hear their heart as you're working there, that you're volunteering and you're helping them, you know, to be able to make whatever part of their home better. You're there helping to do that. They are really appreciative.
I'm excited.
And when he says,
And we will be following the CDC guidelines. And so it's not the way that we would normally do it if we did not have the pandemic. And so we're just being very careful with our volunteers and with the homeowners as we are out doing repairs in and around their home.
Kelly, were you saying something?
yeah, I was going to say that he was saying you're going to remember it. You're going to remember the homeowners, but you're going to remember that feeling that you get from helping somebody. The way that it makes you feel, it just stays with you forever. Like if you're having a sour day, you can think about that, and the feeling just comes back all over again.
Awesome. You guys are making me more
Can I-
excited.
Can I add
Sure.
something here?
Yeah,
today,
sure. Go ahead, Nina.
Today I was actually on a call. It's an initiative that we are doing at the city on another project. But in talking with the consultant, they asked us about cross-boundary collaborations and if we had any examples of successes. And I actually offered up Operation Inasmuch as an example of that cross-boundary collaboration, because people come from every sector of our community, and we all come together on that one day. And I'm glad that you all are saying the things that you are saying, is because even though we talked about the work is done in one day and it is basically a short turnaround, what some people might see as just a short-term success, we actually did talk about the long-term impacts that it has on the homeowners and the individuals that participate. So everything that you all are saying, I'm glad to hear that it truly confirms what I, conveyed to the consultant today and to the folks that were on the call. So I'm just really glad to hear that.
Thank you for that, Nina. That's good to hear. That's oh my gosh, that is so good to hear that the word is being spread, and that we have good news that we can give to others that actually means something, and it's here in High Point.
Yeah, and I am glad that you guys actually participate in things, because you've done VITA, you've done the neighborhood leaders meetings, you've done Operation Inasmuch, and that's really exciting. Kelly, you raise your hand.
Yeah, I'm not sure of the right time to bring this up, but I did the point in time this week.
Oh,
week.
yes.
Mhm.
I'm so glad that you guys participate in that, because you actually see the work with these funds and stuff that you are actually giving out to your agencies, you see them working as you go out and you volunteer and you do things. And your feedback to us is really, really good. And that's one of the reasons why when someone wants to find out about something, they'll call and say, can I talk to the neighborhood leaders group, or can I talk to CAC? Because you guys represent, you guys represent the wards. And so you hear things, that we may not hear. You hear it by talking to your neighbors and, that type of thing. And so it's just really exciting that you guys are actually volunteering, that you're listening to the hearts of the community, and then you're able to be more informed and make more informed decisions, about what's going on whenever you can actually be out there and hear the people.
Yeah, and they're very interested in, when they found out I was part of CAC, they want to present to us. They want to share some information. I told them I would pass along their information to you. I mean, you already have, I forget the name, Partners Ending Homelessness. Yeah, they want to do a presentation with us. But they were so excited.
Okay, thank you for that, Dr. Jackson. Next on the agenda, I know we have a treat. I'm trying to hold myself down. I'm trying to contain myself. But right on the screen, in live, in person, we have Councilman Jefferson. Cyril, can you give us the city council updates, please?
Chairman Henry, I appreciate you. You are a very kind person. And if I didn't know any better, it's almost as if you suggest, like, this isn't something we do on a regular basis. No, I'm kidding, y'all. I admit that I have not been able to attend these past few meetings. And with that, I'll say that I have missed y'all dearly. To the friends that I know and have seen in person in the past several weeks, it's been great running into y'all and collaborating on various things. And to some of the folks here on the call who have not had the privilege of knowing personally, it's great to see you. I appreciate you and your commitment to the Citizens Advisory Council. I don't need to tell you all how important the work is that you all do and how many folks depend on your commitment to this work. And how our community is made better by your sacrifice, by your commitment, and quite frankly, by your love for High Point. So thank you for loving our city, and thank you for continuing to serve our city. I'm going to chat about a few things, and some of these have probably been talked about. You all may have seen it whether it's on news and media, or maybe even in some of these meetings, you all may have brought it up. But I'm just going to chat about a few things and make sure that you all, CAC members, are aware of what sort of conversations are being had, not only at the city council level, per se, in terms of what's in our purview, but things that city council may be connected to, things that are having a big impact on our city as a whole, and just sort of the thoughts of all things happening in High Point. So one of the big things that I'll highlight is what's happening with ARPA. And ARPA is the acronym for the American Rescue Plan Act. Recall that as President Biden came to office, that was one of the first big pieces of legislation that got signed. And it was a way to really help America as we were coming out of this pandemic. And so High Point ended up getting about $23 million in that funding. We had our first approval of funding to be utilized from that allocation, and that was a sum of about $5+ million to pay for deferred and delayed capital projects, expenditures, and items of that such. During the pandemic, we had a $7 million shortfall in tax revenue, and that had an impact on a number of expenses that, quite frankly, the city has to be able to support each year. And that's around our facilities, whether it's their maintenance, their enhancement. That's also in our fleet services, the trucks and machinery that operates every day to provide services to our residents. We don't want to let those delay. We want to spend time working on those items so that way, essentially, the better the machinery and the tools and the facilities that the city has, the better the services we can do. And far be it that we find find ourselves in a situation in which we don't have what we need to do those kinds of services. And so $5 million has been allocated to that. So that leaves us roughly around 17 or $18 million that's left. I can tell you that one of the things that city government is dealing with, much like every other sector and every other industry, is just the labor shortage. And so in terms of staffing, it's been a real challenge with the city. We've got more vacancies now than we've probably ever had in recent history. And these are not just in, any kinds of positions. I mean, every single position within a city is critical. But when you start talking about, especially some of the things in our public services and in our public safety, when folks can't have their water on, or when electricity goes out, or when a road is shut down because something happened or fire breaks out, the last thing we want is for folks to live in a city where they pay taxes and cannot get the basic necessities and services done for them. So we've got to do something about those vacancies, because right now our way to deal with it is that either it takes a long time for someone to get services, or we have to pay exorbitant amounts of money for contractors to come in. And both of those are just, they're not the most ideal options. And so us dealing with the staffing shortage, utilizing funding for incentives and things of that nature to ensure that we can shore up our vacancies, that's coming down the pike. And we expect that that'll probably be a 7-figure investment, not quite as big as the cost for those capital projects that we mentioned, but maybe in the tune of a couple million, we imagine. Some of the other items that are with that may also be considered for ARPA funds are things that impact community. And so you all may be hearing about a number of projects out there, whether it's the day center to serve those who are experiencing homelessness. Some of you may have heard about Dr. Harmon's Bridge project, which I think is a really good one. And there are other efforts that are underway in which people are doing various things, and ARPA funds are being, folks are asking about ARPA funds to help with that. And so council over the next several weeks, we'll be doing some workshopping and talking through some things and trying to really get a lay of the land and say, all right, of all these initiatives, what does it look like to try to fund all of them? Do we have that right now from ARPA funds? What does it look like to pull from another bucket of funds that we may have with the city, especially if some of these things are priorities and we've heard from our community that they really want to have these things. And so I expect that by late March, early April, that conversation will be progressing more and more. We'll be able to share more information about that. I'll move on to the next point. This won't be as long a point, but the RAISE grant that we got, the U.S. RAISE grant from the Department of Transportation for $19.8 million was incredible. And that's a big shout out to everyone who was involved in that, not only including city staff, but some of our community partners with Southwest Renewal Foundation. They were a huge collaborator and technical assistant for us to secure that grant funding. It was the largest grant funded in the state. From all the projects in the state that got funded from the federal government from that grant, we had the largest one by far. And so what that's going to do is really increase the connectivity between communities within our city to connect them to vital services, whether it's healthcare or our downtown, to jobs. The greenway that's being completed will give us this multimodal path that connects you all the way from Southwest High Point all the way up to I-40 near Gallimore Dairy Road. And so once that's done, that's going to be a major attraction. People who like living places, love living places where they can maybe get out, walk, jog, or ride a bike. I don't do a lot of jogging, but I do like walking, maybe some bike riding. So I'm looking forward to that as well. Next item of note is, a few months ago, the state budget that got passed, our representatives, especially want to shout out Representative Cecil Brockman, who really led the charge on that. And then also supported by Representative John Fairclough, secured $12 million in the state budget for various organizations here in our city and various efforts. And so some of the ones of note, the Coltrane Festival, Friends of John Coltrane, ended up getting like $1 million. The Coltrane project that's with the House got $250,000. There was a huge pool of funds to go to a lot of small nonprofits to help them build their capacity they had their first meeting last week for that to jump off, and just to see, this is about 30 plus nonprofits that are kind of starter nonprofits. They're really small, founded in the past few years, but a grant of 25 or 50,000 or 75,000 can really increase their capacity. And so we're seeing that taking place right now. There's also funding for a number of other efforts in there going to organizations that we all know, like Open Door Ministries and Resilience High Point, things of that nature. And so if you got questions about that, feel free to reach out. An official breakdown of that came out in the newspaper. But I want to say that I don't have that list right on hand myself, but if anyone needs it, I'm sure any one of us can get it for you all. But $12 million coming into our city to do some incredible work that is substantial. Some of that it goes to the Chamber of Commerce and what they're doing with the generator and manufacturing and small business. 1 million of that went to Thrive High Point. So Thrive High Point, recall, is a minority entrepreneurship initiative that is housed at Business High Point Chamber of Commerce. And that $1 million is incredible because as that funding came in, more and more partners began to hear about it. And just last week, there was an announcement of Pinnacle Bank supporting the effort and giving $200,000 to Thrive. But in all, they gave $3 million to the Institute, which partners with the Chamber to deliver Thrive. So that kind of investment leverages and secures even more investment. So it's something that we can all be proud about. You all may have read in the newspaper or heard about the One High Point Commission. This was something that was spearheaded and really made possible by our local High Point NAACP chapter. They really took charge on saying, hey, there are still disparities in our community. And when it comes to outcomes of healthcare and education, so many other things, communities of color, specifically Black, African-American communities, we end up having the most disparate of those outcomes. And so that commission wants to study the impact and effects of our nation's history, going all the way back to slavery and how that's contributed to those outcomes today. And from that study, be able to really learn and see what other communities may be doing to address some of these issues. So that way we can create the kind of equity and create really the kind of opportunity within communities. No decision's been made about what those what those recommendations would look like to address some of the issues. Right now, we're really in a learning, studying, having really good conversations, part of that phase. I know that Robert Sims, who's here, is someone who's plays an integral role with the NAACP, and so perhaps Rob could give more information. But we're really proud of the effort, really grateful for the NAACP and what they did to get that to where it is, and really glad that the city is able to be a partner in that, and more news should come out about that soon. In regards to the next item, I'll talk briefly about MWBE. And so MWBE looks at how does the city how the city manage and consider who and when and how they're giving out contracts for services. And we've been having this conversation really since this term started a couple of years ago, and we're moving that train further and further down the road. Over the next several weeks, we'll be looking at making a decision about doing a disparity study, which could be a 6-figure investment, we imagine, just based on what we know, upwards of $250,000 to invest in it. But it will tell us exactly where we are in terms of that sort of disparity when it comes to businesses being supported by our city. That sort of information kind of really supports what the One High Point Commission wants to learn as well. And so in many ways, some of that information plays hand in hand, but we're looking forward to that. Our goal is to ensure that businesses who are in our city, at the very least, our city should be an equal opportunity partner for all those businesses. And we just want to do our best with that. Something that's coming down the pipe, and you all may have been hearing about this over the past couple of years, but we're moving it further along. And in March and April, we'll be having more conversations and likely taking action on fair housing. And so fair housing, just to give you a very high level summary of fair housing, it focuses on ensuring that there's not discrimination and ensuring that landlords do their part by the tenants who live within their properties. And it's just again, it goes back to equality. It goes back to equal opportunity. It goes back to just doing the right thing. And right now, if someone in the city of High Point has an issue with their landlord in which they feel that there's a real grievance, they have to take that grievance to Raleigh, in which Raleigh, just to give you some information, Raleigh has to service the complaints, cases, and issues of nearly, I mean, you're talking about more than 2/3 of the state's population. Of the top 10 cities, of the top 9 cities in the state, High Point's really the only one, I believe, that does not have its own fair housing assistance program. And so that means that of cities our size or comparable, they've all got this kind of program, and we don't have it. And so what we say to our residents and folks who live here right now currently is, if you got an issue, we can give you a pamphlet to tell you what your options are, but ultimately we can't help you. You got to go to Raleigh. And you all can probably imagine government already moves slow. And when you got to go all the way to Raleigh to get help, that just puts another barrier in there. So for a city that wants to create the single most livable, safe, and prosperous community in America, it is incumbent upon us to consider, are we doing right by our residents to not have that kind of program? And we've been talking about it for the past couple of years, and I expect in the next couple of months you'll hear more about it. Hopefully some action will be taken. Finally, the last couple of things I'll talk about in regards to 2 initiatives that people may be hearing about. And I want to separate the 2 initiatives because they're so similar in terms of what their name sounds like, but they're 2 different initiatives, okay? So one of them is the Buildback Better Challenge, and you'll see that as BBB. That was initiated by the federal government, and it actually happened, again, going back to when President Biden came and said, hey, we want to find a way to rescue America. We want to build back America. So that's what it was. We want to build back better. And so essentially, they've set aside some billions of dollars. I don't know the exact amount, but some billions of dollars in a grant program for cities and communities and regions around the country to apply for, to really shore up communities and create economic prosperity. And so it's a competitive grant program in which I know here in the city, we've got a couple of things that fall into that list, and our city, along with other projects throughout the Triad, made it to the top 60 finalists. And so we're excited because what that means is we're given an even better chance to be looked at for some funding that can come in. That funding, if successful and landed, would really impact some advanced manufacturing and small scale manufacturing here in our city. We know that, large scale and some of the traditional manufacturing, while a lot of that went overseas, there's always been an appetite for the advanced small scale manufacturing to still stay here in country. And I'll just say this as a personal note from what I know is, we all saw the supply chain disruptions, what happened when we need to get things in country from overseas. That slowed down a lot of things coming in. Folks who were ordering furniture and ordering other things that they normally would get within a few weeks' time are still not getting it after months of it sort of waiting. And so it's huge for us, I think, to shore up some of our manufacturing. And so this kind of initiative would really help. We're bringing, another 7 to 8 figure sort of investment into our city that could help businesses. The other initiative, not to be confused, so you got the one I just talked about, which is Build Back Better initiative. This other one is called Building the Best Guilford, BBG. And Building the Best Guilford focuses on what is the entrepreneurial ecosystem throughout the entire Guilford County region, such that anyone who's doing business, all the small business enterprises, are we giving them the kind of support that's needed for them to grow? And it's a request that this group of, it's both chambers of commerce from Greensboro and High Point, as well as the Community Foundation of Greater Greensboro, a number of business folks and community leaders, myself, I'm on that committee as well, have been working on this now. And the request is going to the county, Guilford County, going to Greensboro City Council and High Point City Council for investment into this initiative. And if done right, then it would really shore up entrepreneurship to small business. So I wanted you all to just be aware of all these sort of things happening. I know that was a lot of updates. I guess Chairman Henry, I'm just making up for not being here. I'll be happy to answer any questions or address any observations that folks may have.
All right, panel. Any questions for the councilman? Dr. Jackson, you're muted.
No, that was a lot.
I'm sorry.
But you know what? That's
What's
the problem. That means we got a lot of happening. If I'd have been coming every month, y'all have got this all like steadily. So I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Dr. Jackson, this is normal. So those are, yeah. Yep. And anyone have any questions? Okay. So what I did was I took notes and I got here 10 things that he spoke about, with the last one being 2 initiatives.
Dang,
Talk about,
yeah,
that's awesome.
man. I'm
so
talking around myself. Sheesh.
I know one of the things though that you did share. I mean, there's everything. Believe in me, is important on this list. One of the things though I really am curious to find out. And you mentioned between March and April is more about the fair housing, because we've had meetings so far with our neighborhood leaders, and that's one of the things that has been raised is not only on the housing point, but also for those that are renting. That with the rents going up higher and higher, there's really no place to go to be able to for our citizens to go and dispute what their landlords are saying or trying to do. If there's nothing else, what I want to do before you go, I just want to thank you, Cyril, because I know I rag on you, but I just want everyone to know I actually see him about every week or so. Cyril is out there championing for High Point, and I just wanted to thank you and the rest of the council and the mayor that y'all are in these meetings and that y'all really push High Point. As we can see based on your screen, we see the subliminal message that says High Point even on your shirt. But seriously, I just want everyone to know that is what they do. They push High Point. So if you've heard of stuff happening out there, all these different jobs, all these announcements that we're hearing, that all of a sudden you hear Guilford County and then you hear High Point is part of it, is because they're really taking the time to push High Point and to let these businesses know worldwide that High Point is the place to be and that they need to be here. So we are really appreciative for what you do, Cyril. And for letting us know here locally in High Point of what's going on, and so thank you so much for continuing to be a champion for us and for our neighborhood people here.
It's my pleasure, and you said a really good point there about how all this stuff really contributes to High Point becoming more attractive, and folks want to come into High Point and invest in High Point and invest in the region because of all this work. And I didn't talk about it, but you all may have read about all the big economic development announcements that we've been blessed to have here recently, from the Toyota announcement that's taking place right in Randolph County, that's bringing 1,700 plus jobs immediately, but I think it's going to go all the way up to 2,000 plus jobs, multi-million-dollar investment, to Sonic Boom, which is, building those boom jet craft carriers near the airport, another multi-million-dollar investment to bring hundreds and hundreds of jobs, to Volvo that we just heard about, which was earlier this week, based right on the edge of High Point. Like, it's in High Point. It's right on the edge near Greensboro, but that's multi-million-dollar investment. To give it clearly, Volvo put their entire sort of financial department, the headquarters of it, right here. So Volvo Financial is right here, based in High Point, and that's a global operation. So to your point, Chairman Henry, I mean, these investments can have big impacts, but you all know, for me, if the rising tide, that is economic impact, is going to lift our boats, we have to address the boats that will not lift because they're anchored down or they have leaks in them. And you all probably know what I mean when I talk about those anchors and leaks. We've got to move those systemic, structural, generational burdens. And we've got to increase access and reduce gaps that keep people from accessing the opportunity. So I'm so grateful for you all. I do mean it when I talk about the investment and the commitment that you all make to doing this work. No one of us can do anything by ourselves, but together we can do a whole lot. Before I go, I want to send well wishes to brother Mike, who's not here. We love Mike and we appreciate Mike and everything he's ever done, and we're always wishing him the best. And I'll tell you how much I love Mike, that I had to talk so much today just to make up for how much Mike would say if he was here. Y'all don't tell him I said that though. Y'all don't tell him I said that. Matter of fact, I'm gonna call him and tell him I said that before.
I was saying, this is recorded and on YouTube, I believe. So.
That is correct.
And can I add here quickly, Mike's birthday is Monday. So if you want to give him a shout out, a text or email or a phone call, his birthday is on Monday.
Okay, thank you for that, Nina. That is good. I'm making a note right here as well, so we all can send him well wishes as well as tell him happy birthday. I'm pretty sure he's going to be appreciative. Okay, so next on the agenda is announcements and comments. Our next meeting, CAC meeting, is going to be March 24th. March 24th is our next CAC meeting, so please put it on your calendar. That being said, are there any agenda items rather that you would like for us to put on there from the panel?
A deadline for the grants was it March 4th, Michelle?
Yes.
Okay. The March 24th meeting, I'm pretty sure I'll be able to make it, but there is a chance I won't. Will there be any important information? Are we just going to go over scoring? Are we going to have scores that are due before then or anything like that I should know about?
No, nothing that we won't send out to you guys. Once we get them in and then we go through them, we will send you guys out something, and we got to go through some details too, in terms of, if there are going to be any presentations, even out, before you guys do the scoring or that type of thing with the grantees, because, whenever we're in person, they actually come and present to you. And so don't know how, what that's going to look like at this point, but we will be getting with you guys pretty much on that. So Jessica, I don't think you will miss anything. And then we'll be sending out things and getting you guys approval on what we need to be doing.
Okay. I'll still try to make it, but market is so early in April this year. It's April 2nd. So luckily that doesn't happen again for a very long time. But
speaking of that, announcements, Jessica, you just mentioned about market. Market is early this year. So again, can you say when market is going to be?
it's April 6th or April 2nd through the 6th. I actually do have an announcement in regards to market. The High Point Market Authority has partnered with the High Point Rockers to host a part-time seasonal job fair, which will be at the Catalyst Club. So 214 Lindsay Street, next Tuesday, March 1, from 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. We wanted to give people, schedules can be, everyone's got different schedules. So we wanted to do a good window of time where whether you work during the day or the evening that you had an opportunity to come. This is a part-time seasonal job fair. The way the rocker schedule works with market, the way the calendar year falls is you can work market for 5 days, however we schedule you. Then you could work part-time seasonally for the rockers all baseball season long. And then the season ends and you can work market again. So because that calendar year, the synergy is so good, the rockers and the High Point Market Authority are definitely trying to kind of share staff and pull together some resources. We all know it's very hard to find people to work these days, labor and, customer service positions and different things like that. There's tons of positions available where there's transportation, registration, general guest services, customer service, event operations. The rockers have food stuff, ticket takers, merch shops, all sorts of fun stuff. So that is happening this Tuesday. If anybody on this call, I would greatly appreciate it if you went to actually High Point Rockers Baseball Facebook and reposted that job fair post that they actually posted today. Kind of help us spread the word about it. That would be great. We've worked with GTCC to promote it, Davidson Community College to promote it, the Chambers promoted it, various community partners. I believe I have it on Noel's schedule to also post it and repost it. So we appreciate that from the city of High Point, and we hope we get a really good turnout.
Do you guys have flyers, Jessica?
I don't have a physical flyer, Michelle. That was something that I was thinking about. Do you think I could very easily create one? Do you think that would be helpful?
I think it would be, because a lot of people may not do Facebook or stuff like that. And so we can actually get it out and put it into other people's hands if you can get me a flyer.
Okay, I'll email you tomorrow. I can probably get something printed and in your hands tomorrow. There was one other thought I was going to say. It has been in the enterprise, and we will be doing a media alert. So we dropped a press release about a week or two ago, and we'll be doing a media alert the day before too, just so like Fox 8 knows, like, oh yeah, friendly reminder, it's tomorrow, things like that. So I'll definitely work on that flyer tomorrow, Michelle.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Hey, Jessica, is there, do people have to register, or can they just show up on next Tuesday?
They can just show up. All they need, we're saying a valid state ID. Sometimes we can actually get around that with some other two forms of valid ID, like a passport and a social security card or something like that. But your driver's license not required. They can just show up. Sometimes registration for other people that have experienced job fairs can be a mixed bag of results. So we didn't bother with registration, but we'll have an application to fill out on site. And they can indicate whether they're interested in market or the Rockers or both. And we'll kind of have respective areas so they can hear about all the different jobs and decide if they're interested or not.
Got one more question. Do you know if they're hiring on the spot?
That's a good question. Market Authority personally, will be, if we don't hire you on the spot, we'll be doing it pretty quick. We actually wanted to do it this time frame for market, because generally the job fair leads, you kind of have to act on them quickly, or, people's plans change to get hired somewhere else, all sorts of stuff. So we'll either be hiring on the spot, or we will be conducting interviews. So we have the potential to hire on the spot. I don't know if the Rockers will be doing so, but they'll be also conducting interviews on the spot. So if they are not hiring on the spot, it will be very soon after. I will also say that the Rockers will be doing more job fairs without the Market Authority within the months to come leading up to the baseball season. I know they want to do more than one. The Market Authority is just partnering with them on this first one, but there'll be more to come Rockers wise.
All right, and the last question, Jessica, one more time, if you can say the address where this is going to take place. Yes,
it's 214 Lindsay Street. So the baseball stadium's actual address is on Elm, but 214 Lindsay will get you to the parking lot that's right in front of the Catalyst Club, which is where we're hosting the job fair. So logistically, that address is the best one to use, 214 Lindsay.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Jessica, I'm sorry.
Sorry, go ahead, Robert.
That's on Tuesday, March the 1st?
Yes, from 3 p.m. to 7 p.m.
Okay. And when you get that flyer, I definitely want a copy of that. I got a place to put them. So
okay,
as soon as you get it, send me.
I will, can I shoot it to you and print it, or do you need me to deliver it to you? Either way.
Hey, any way I can get them. I mean, I'll take, now if you got 300, I'll take 300. So, I got a lot of places to put them at, and I think it's a great idea because you're talking about seasonal work from April until maybe October. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah.
Yeah. Bring me as much as you got. I got plenty of places to put them. So whatever you want, I'm here.
Okay, cool. I'll definitely be in touch tomorrow.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Well, I have an announcement too. The city is having a same day hiring on Saturday, the 26th. And I think I sent the flyer out to you guys. And then I think they listed the 3 different categories that they may be hiring in. And if you guys can spread that, that would be a wonderful thing to do.
Yes, thank you for that, Michelle. This one here, just want to let you all know, for this one here, it's the same day. Okay, so like Michelle said, it's on the 26th. It's from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. So you have a great time in between there, a long time, 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. And once again, this is the city of High Point. So there are going to be various different positions that they're going to be hiring for. The main thing about this one here is that it's on this day itself, you have the ability to be hired there on the spot. Okay. Like what the councilman said is there are positions open here in the city of High Point, and I'm pretty sure that they're looking desperately for some folks as well, like what Jessica just shared. Here in the city of High Point, they are looking for people as well here. So folks, this is a great opportunity. If you're looking, this is 2 events right here that's just been shared. I would say to look into it for those of you that are looking for work or even looking for additional work. These are great events that you can be a part of. Any other announcements? All right. Well, you know what's next on the agenda?
Before you do that, Mr. Chair.
Yes, go ahead, sir.
I do have one comment.
Okay.
I'd just like to say this evening was a great meeting. There's a lot of great information that we got out there. I definitely want to tip my hat to community development with Michelle and Danina and, Mike, we love you, big guy. You guys doing a great job out there. That award that you received, well deserved. So I just want to say great meeting, Mr. Chair. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Yep, thank you so much. And I echo those points. Well, y'all do an awesome job. And I know Michelle and I know Nina, I know y'all don't like to hear it. And that's just because of your heart. But we thank you guys for the positions that y'all have and what's going on in our neighborhood. I mean, this community is people that we know, and we see every day. But we need advocates in the positions that you have to make things happen. And y'all make things happen. And so we just really appreciate you guys, and of course let Mike know as well. But we really do appreciate you all and what y'all are doing.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, well, next on the agenda is adjournment. So does someone want to make a motion?
I, Jessica Nguyen, make a motion to adjourn.
All right, Jessica made a motion. Is there a second?
I second.
All right, Mr. Robertson, second. Is there any room for discussion? I pretty much don't think so. All right, well, we don't have much people on here, so we'll just do a vote here by voice. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
All right.